Hi there, I'm Wayne Purser, Realtor with Coldwell Banker Bain, downtown Edmonds, and welcome back to this month's edition of Spotlight Edmonds Real Estate Show. Today I have a special guest, Tim Cassill with Axia Home Loans. We'll do our Spotlight Edmonds Real Estate Weather Report, and then we'll wrap up the show with a question from one of our viewers. At this time, I'd like to introduce my guest, Tim Cassill from Axia Home Loan. Welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, fabulous. I've met Tim back in 2004. So we've been with buyers and sellers in real estate. So, Tim, tell us about the mortgage industry. What's happening?
Well, it's interesting, like it has been for quite some time now. The most common question we probably get is what's going to happen with interest rates.
Right.
That seems to be on the tip of everybody's tongues. And we are in a period of, I think what I'd probably say is upward pressure on rates right now. They're still extremely low by historical standards, but I think most people in the industry think that we're going to see some changes here coming up, maybe towards the end of the year. A lot of talk about what the Fed is doing right now, you know, how they're going to react to their various things, and they're a little behind on their plan right now for gradually ramping up rates.
Right.
Yeah, we only had one bump early in the year of a quarter point on their rate. And they've been putting it off since then because the economy's been not quite where they feel comfortable bumping anything up. But I think most people seem to think that they're getting to that point now, or don't really anticipate seeing anything until the end of the year, though they are showing some, certainly that they want to do it.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to happen in October. We really don't think it'll happen in November because of the elections, and the Fed just doesn't want to get involved in that. So
Right.
December, we could very easily see a quarter point bump. Now, that's not going to equate to a quarter point in interest rates, but it's certainly going to start putting some pressure on them.
Right, right. And with interest rates this low, it's been, well, not fun for me, but it's been very interesting with millennials. That I don't want to pay more than 4% interest.
Yeah, I was going to skip that, but sure, go ahead. Yeah.
And they don't have no idea that some people have paid 7, 8, 10, 12%.
Yep.
Anybody who's my age or our age have been through that in our lifetime. So for them to say, okay, I want to go out and purchase when it gets to 5, 6, or 7%. So we do have changes coming ahead, but that'll be growth in the economy. And
Yep, which is certainly happening and doesn't seem to have an end in sight right now.
Right.
But yeah, and of course the millennials are a large group.
Yep.
There are kind of our first-time home buyers now, and as you know, they're the ones that are going to drive the market.
Well, they're generally about 32% of the market.
Yeah, they are. And so it's going to be an adjustment for some of them, but like I said, it's going to be in a gradual rise. And like you said, for people like us that have seen 12, 13, 14%, my first car loan was 18% back in the 70s, it's going to be an adjustment for them, but like in any market, rates go up, rates go down, people get used to it. People are going to buy at 3.5%, and if we hit 12% again, people are still going to be buying.
Correct.
We just won't be seeing much appreciation on houses then.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Everything will slow down. So what are the 3 or 4 things that a buyer needs to do to be prepared to get a home mortgage?
Well, I assume we're addressing first-time buyers here, and well, anybody actually,
yeah.
because well, step one from our side, from the financing side, is to get an application done, and we always encourage, and I know you do too, buyers to get the mortgage application in as early as they possibly can. There's absolutely no reason to put it off, to wait until you have a property. That doesn't make sense. So get that done. And it's easy. It's not a scary process at all. Most lenders now, you can do them online. You can also certainly meet with people if they're more comfortable doing them face-to-face. That's fine. But I would say probably 90% of our mortgages now are all done online.
Right, right.
So it's easy, it takes 15 minutes, there's nothing scary about it, and the nice thing is there is a problem on it, we're going to find out right away.
Right.
And we can start working on it now, rather than finding out when you're ready to buy a house.
Right.
Right.
From the real estate side is a lot of brokers writing an offer on a listing. The buyer's already been in underwriting. They've done the application, they've given the tax records, they're given the pay stubs, they have done everything possible to make that they have a great offer for the seller. So,
Yeah, now, and some lenders will do that, some will not. There are some lenders, and I think we probably find it more often in the big banks, is they're not going to underwrite a file until they have a property.
correct.
And that's fine. Companies like Axia and some other ones around here, we actually have three levels of pre-approvals. One, the most basic one, is one that we are required by law to provide if that's what a buyer wants. And it's basically going to be, they've told us how much money they make and how much money they have, and that's it.
Right.
It's not a very strong letter, and we really don't encourage people to go that route. The second one is where we get a full application in, we get their documentation, and as part of what we do is we're setting that all up, we run an automated underwrite through Fannie or Freddie, something like that. And if we get an accept on that, then we have that level of pre-approval, which is really pretty strong. The third one is where we have all the application information in. We put the file, put the whole package together, it goes to underwriting does their thing, comes back. If we have some conditions, we take care of those, and then boom, you have a fully underwritten pre-approval. And that could lead to a 15-day close.
Right.
Or less, assuming we get the appraisals
Yep.
back in order.
Right. And appraisals are taking much longer due to the fact there's less appraisals in the industry. Government regulation has increased their clock hour times, what the degrees they have to have, and so the industry is working on that.
Yeah, they're going to have to. I think everything you said, plus we just don't have as many appraisers as we used to. And now we're getting out past 3 weeks now on normal turn times. Now, we see some people coming in. I just had one of these last week where they chose to pay an additional $400 fee on their appraisal to get it done quickly.
Right.
And some people are doing that. It just as a little anecdote, I was talking to the appraisal coordinator at our main office in Bellevue, and we actually have a one-man office in Klamath Falls, Oregon, who ordered an appraisal about 2 weeks ago, and he'll get it in late November.
Wow.
So as you get out of town, I did one in Ellensburg. Took over 4 weeks, and it was $200 higher than they are here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Last month, I put a special matrix that you provided for me for VA, FHA, conventional buyers. People went through short sale, foreclosures, divorces, bankruptcies. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think this is actually kind of important topic now, which probably a lot of would-be buyers may not be aware of. And this affects people that in the downturn were either involved with a foreclosure, a short sale, a deed in lieu, or something like that. And what most people don't realize now is that a lot of these people are eligible for mortgage financing again. I don't want to get into a whole bunch of details, but the rules are different for FHA, USDA, VA, conventional financing. And then there's different categories depending on whether it was a foreclosure, which is roughly 7 years. A short sale, as it turns out for a lot of people, is not that big a deal. They're probably well out of that period by now.
Right.
So if you're in a situation like that and you're thinking about buying again, I'd advise you to look into it because we're getting a lot of these done now.
Right, because getting something like that behind you, as I've worked with several people in that situation, getting that behind them 3 years, 4 years, they've established good credit,
Yep.
they got money in the bank, and they want home ownership. And so it's out there. Some frustration I've had here in the city of Edmonds is that 90% of the condominiums are conventional or cash only. They don't have their FHA certificate to where people can come and purchase. Where the buyers have done everything right to be able to get a loan, but the marketplace is there. Some condos seem to be sitting because conventional people aren't willing to pay that price where an FHA person could be able to come in and purchase the property.
Yeah, and I think that's very unfortunate. There was a time not too long ago when The vast majority of condominiums were FHA approved. FHA is roughly 25 to 30% of all the mortgages done in this country. So
Right.
that's a big chunk of buyers right there.
Yep.
But we're finding it's not just Edmonds, it's Linwood, it's down in King County, it's all over the place where a lot of these condominium associations have let their FHA approvals lapse. And I think that's
Right.
unfortunate because there's a whole bunch of buyers in that category. And we've talked about this
Yep.
before. Some people think that FHA is an indication of a weaker buyer or somebody who's not as well qualified as a conventional buyer. And nothing could be further from the truth.
Right.
Not at all.
With all the government regulations now that are totally different than 2006, 2007, 2008, before the crash, people have to provide all this documentation, all the information, so they are creditworthy and they are able to purchase. So,
Yeah, and more people are able to purchase now than they were several years ago because some things have started to loosen up.
right,
And we still work with our usual credit score issues and debt ratios and so on. But it has gotten easier. But what has not gotten any easier is the documentation part of it. And I think you can talk to most people that have been through the process lately, and it's a little bit difficult. There's no getting around it.
Right.
But we're doing good mortgages.
yeah,
You know, fraud is still a problem, but it's not what it was.
No.
And everything that's going through now is good, solid
no. And,
stuff.
and that's what's helping us, the way growth is here with all the people moving to the area. Foreclosures are down, definitely way down. Short sales are way down.
Way
The
down.
market is more solid here in the Northwest because of jobs, tourism, and people being qualified, and which is going to stop any type of problem with the market in real estate.
Yeah. Yeah, fraud is always going to exist, no
Right.
matter what you do. We'll never get rid of it. But the mortgages that are being sold into the market now are good, strong mortgages. We're not going to have any of that stuff that
Right.
we ran into several
Right.
years ago.
So as we wrap up here, any closing comments?
I don't know anything too earth-shattering, except
Okay.
that, like we were just talking about, if you are thinking about buying a home, whether it's the first time, buying a second one, coming out of a derogatory credit situation, I would really encourage people to look into it. Give me a call, give your mortgage guy a call, take a look at it, get your credit checked, and who knows, you may find you're ready to go. And if you're not, then find out what you do have to do.
Yeah,
To get
and-
ready to
and
go, I think.
pre-plan.
Yeah.
Pre-plan. So
Exactly.
thank you very much, Tim.
Well, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
That wraps up my special guest, Tim Cassill with Axia Home Loans. Now we're going to move on to Spotlight Edmonds Real Estate Weather Report. Welcome back to this portion of Spotlight and Edmonds Real Estate Weather Report. We're going to start with Edmonds, 020 zip code. Currently, we have 46 listings. Sales for August were 45. We have a weather temperature of 92 degrees. That equals about 22 days on the market. 026 Edmonds, 98026. We have 96 listings, 82 sales with a weather temperature of 92 also. About 26 days on the market. In Muckleteal, Briar, Linwood, Mount Lake Terrace, and Mill Creek, basically South Snohomish County, 326 current listings with 277 solds for the month of August, with a weather temperature about 93 degrees and 20 days on the market. South of us in Shoreline, 99 listings, 84 solds. That's a change because it's always had more sales than listings. They have a weather temperature about 96 degrees, so about a 12-day market time. What we're seeing is a lack of inventory at the end of the summer vacations, kept the market hot. So we're still up in the 90s, which is definitely a seller's market. We'll see what happens when we enter the second best selling season each year, which is fall. So listings should be coming up into the fall market between now and Thanksgiving. And we also have an election right around the corner. That's all for this portion of Spotlight and Edmonds Real Estate Weather Report. Now we'll go off to see a question from one of our viewers.
Wayne, you've talked to me about the 4 Ds. Can you talk a little bit more in depth about that?
That's a great question. Yes, I do talk to people about the 4 Ds. That would be divorce, death, dementia, and debt. In a divorce, sometimes one spouse can keep the property, but also sometimes they have to sell the real estate property so it'll go and be distributed to the two parties. So that's something an attorney needs to do, but also if you're going to sell your property, you need to know how to set that up so all parties are informed. Then you go on to death. Before death, some people will think that they have a power of attorney, so I can make decisions after my family, friend, or spouse passes away and their demise, they can make decisions. No, once there's death, then you need a executor or executrix to be able to handle the trust. The third one would be dementia. Is that person capable of signing a legal document, or do they need a doctor's order, or again, do they need someone who has a power of attorney? The last one is debt. People are trying to climb out of this economy recovery, put savings, get their life back together, and what I would tell them and advise them was that they would need to meet a mortgage broker to give them maybe a 6 to 12 month analysis of what they need to do to get forward to be able to purchase a home and have home ownership again. I do talk about this at the Chamber of Commerce when I go to the breakfast meetings, so I do public speaking. If anyone would like me to come and present to talk about the 4Ds to your group, I'd be more than glad to do that. Again, this is Wayne Purser, local realtor, Coldwell Banker Bain, downtown Edmonds, and this wraps up our portion of Spotlight at Edmonds Real Estate Show. We look forward to seeing you next month. Hi, I'm Wayne Purser, a local realtor at Coldwell Banker Bain, Real Estate Services, downtown Edmonds, just footsteps from the fountain. What I have here is a new offer for you as a viewer to receive a copy of the Pacific Northwest First Quarter Market Report for 2016. This will include the Puget Sound, Southwest Washington, and the Oregon, Portland area. At Coldwell Banker Bain Seal, we have over 1,000 brokers and 31 offices in Washington and Oregon. This market report will include cities and counties, average sales price, number of closings, average days on the market, and current inventory. If you'd like your own copy, email me at waynepurser@cbba.com or call me at 206-235-2693.